All right, everybody. The Seahawks are on the clock. I posted that video just now talking about their little trade down with the Steelers, which there's going to be some residual anger about that trade down because the Steelers turned around and used that pick on Jennings Dunker, who I know a lot of Seahawks fans wanted, and it looks like the Seahawks pick is in. So we are going to be utilizing this. There will be no trade down from here into the fourth. So let's see what we end up getting here. There's still some good stuff going on here. I still do wonder about Jermod McCoy. Denise Sutton, Keith Abney the second, if you want a corner. All right, here comes Cliff Averill. There's a lot of stuff they can do here that I think would be fine. And some stuff that I even think would be extraordinary. So here comes Cliff. Video is sponsored by Prize Picks, by the way. More on them in a minute. Julian Neal. Okay, Julian Neal. We did pick a corner. It was not Keith Abney. So Julian Neal, this is actually pretty interesting here. I did have him, I'm looking at it right now, on my big board, 105. So we, in my mind, kind of hit the value on the head with these two guys. Bud Clark, I had him in the late second, early third. And Julian Neal, I had him in the late third, early fourth. So in my mind, we did a pretty good job value-wise. And I am not against getting defensive backs in this draft at all because I think that was a pretty good area of this draft. And in my opinion, that is a big part of what we needed. So Julian Neal is the pick here. In some ways, he kind of makes me think of like a Pete Carroll corner because he's a bigger guy. He's 6'2", over 200 pounds, and he's got very long arms. So he's definitely an outside corner, which is very nice. That is something that I like. I have given us Julian Neal in the third round in at least one mock draft that I did over the last season. So I do like this player a good amount. He's got great explosiveness. He's an extremely explosive athlete, and he is slow-ish, but he's not super slow. For a bigger guy, it's actually not that bad. Jacksonville finishes off the day with Jalen Husky, the safety, by the way, so there was a little run on defensive backs here. But Julian Neal, good ball skills, decent number of interceptions. The coverage numbers are, for the most part, solid. The last couple of years, he's actually been really hard to get anything going on him. He is going to be really good in run support because he's got the size, he's got the length to be a good tackler, he's got strength, he is imposing on that level. Really hard to squeeze in completions on him because he does have the long arms. I'm looking at the evaluation I wrote on him a month plus ago. He's going to be good in press, and he's explosive. The main thing with Jalen, I'm looking at Julian, looking at the TV over there. But the main thing with Julian Neal is he needs time to learn how to read a defense. Right now, Julian Neal, not necessarily a player that is a finished product in terms of being able to read a defense from zone. So you're going to have to get him in the lab and really teach him how to do that stuff. But the nice thing is the Seahawks have time to do that. They have the opportunity to tell Julian Neal, look, you don't even have to really worry that much about playing this year because you're just going to get to focus on learning. We don't need your services right this second. We need you to learn so you're ready to go in 2027 and beyond and maybe be depth for the time being. So I see the vision here. I like the fact that he's definitely an outside corner. That's very valuable, but there is work to be done. If you like sports, the best way to make them better and more exciting is using Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks, all you got to do is pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups with a few taps. It's the daily fantasy stuff, but it's made super easy over there. Whatever sport you're into, give it a shot. And right now, Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All you have to do is use promo code HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far. It makes this daily fantasy thing very easy, and it makes watching the games way more exciting. Be sure to check out the social feeds feature so you can share lineups with your friends and tail partners or even fade their picks. Right now, Prize Picks is offering odds on the NFL draft. You have who's going to go where, what each team is going to do, how many of each position is going to go in each round, and so on and so on. Get on over to Prize Picks. Take advantage of that. So, download Prize Picks today, America's #1 sports app, and remember to use the promo code HMA. And remember, always gamble responsibly. So, yeah, I'm going to say that this was a good pick. Maybe not my favorite pick here. There were other guys that I viewed as being of higher value, including at least one cornerback, maybe two. But at the same time, what I will say is this. Julian Neal, there's no doubt about where he's going to play. He is an outside corner all day. He's not a slot. He's not somebody with arm length problems. He is going to play on the outside at the NFL level, and he's probably going to be good. I mean, you take a look at his measurables, you take a look at his testing scores. If Brandon Browner could play on the outside successfully in the NFL, Julian Neal should be able to as well. You're just going to have to put up with some deficiencies on things like change of direction. He is a little overly aggressive, just like Bud Clark is, but that's something that can be taught. And he doesn't have long speed, but in zone defense, which is mostly what Mike does, I think Julian Neal is a pretty good fit. So I'm on board. And that takes us to the end of day number 2 now. So tomorrow we have 2 picks, but they're both going to be 6th round picks. One kind of early, one late, one very late. Actually, it's the last pick in the, excuse me, in the 6th round. So looking at this team right now, they addressed the running back. They addressed the secondary. They did both of those things quite well. And they did it to a degree that I think is going to be satisfying to most people. Maybe some people won't completely embrace and love every single piece of it, but I do think that people are going to be able to look at what this team did and say, we did what we needed to do. Maybe not necessarily what we wanted to do. We did what we needed to do. So now, the main thing that you did not do, in my opinion, today is, or over the last 2 days, is you could have done a little something with the offensive line, chose not to. In fact, there were multiple windows where you seemed to literally decide you had no interest in doing it. Again, I want to stress, Gennings Dunker was there at 96, and you traded out of the pick because you didn't want him apparently at all, and you allowed the Steelers to take him instead with the pick that you gave them. If you wanted Gennings Dunker, and this goes back to something that I talk about sometimes. We as fans tend to dislike Anthony Bradford. I don't think this team dislikes Anthony Bradford. I think Anthony Bradford is someone this team looks at as a flawed but still good and valuable player. So there's that, and then there's edge rusher. And the thing with edge rusher that I talk about sometimes is rookies rarely make a big impact from the edge. So I think this team is going to sign an edge veteran, Clowney, Fowler, Von Miller, somebody like that, and make it work like that. And they're not going to worry about getting a young blue chip or semi-blue chip or even slightly blue chip edge in this draft, because in their mind, they're thinking about 2026. All right, so that is the end of day 2. The Seahawks come away with 2 defensive backs, Bud Clark, safety from TCU, Julian Neal, cornerback from Arkansas. Get a little bit of everything back there. They've got the opportunity to have a starting safety down the line, and Julian Neal should be a starting cornerback at some point if he works out. He's got the measurements, he's got the ability. There's some good stuff there. So I am on board with it. I'm not going to say they did perfectly. I'm not going to say they did everything exactly the way I would have done it. But I do think that this makes sense and this works. So day 2, I'd say it went quite well. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. The stream will be ending shortly after I end the video. And I will be going live later tonight with Brandon. We're going to talk a little bit about day 2. But tomorrow is going to be a long day, and we're only, as of right now, sitting on 2 picks. So it's going to be a long day with not a tremendous amount going on for the Seahawks directly, but so it is. All right, go Hawks.